Good morning. We are up to our new packet, which is going to be loans versus credit. So we're going to take what we had been talking about a little bit with interest and take it in its other direction. So we talked about simple interest in Unit 3, and now we're going to contrast it with compound interest. So let's review what we know. We know that our formula is I equals PRT, where I was your interest, which is a percentage. Your rate is R, and that was a percent as a decimal. P is your principal amount, which is money, typically. And time is in years. So that's for simple interest. We're going to get to the compound interest formula in a little bit, but we're going to kind of go off of this, review it a little bit, and show you different ways of solving. So the Hadman family took out a simple interest loan, and you'll see that they're going to tell you those words for $1,500 at 3%. After 4 years, they paid back the $1,500 together with the interest that had accrued. How much did the family pay back? So because it said simple interest, and again, that's key wording you want to look out for, we go to our simple interest formula. We know that our principal amount was $1,500. Their rate was 3%, which is 0.03, and their time in years was 4. So if you calculate that or multiply, your interest comes out to be $180. So how much did they pay back? They paid back their $1,500 plus their $180. So that's how much they paid back. Not too bad. Okay, this next one can be a little challenging, but you have to just think and make sense of it. They invest parts of $7,000 into 2 different accounts, a 4% and a 5%. If the annual income for both accounts is $330, how much did they invest at each rate? So we know that there's 2 parts, you can call them whatever you want, but that's their investment is $7,000. One of them had a 4% and the other had a 5%. And that total came out to be $330. So what you've now created is a system of equations. So now it's up to you on how you want to solve your system of equations using substitution. You can solve this for X or for Y. Does not matter. You're going to eventually have to find both. So if I take this and I solve it for Y, that means I'm minusing my X, right? I get that. I can substitute that in now for Y. So 0.04x plus 0.05, my new Y. And now I just have to algebraically go through this solving. So you're going to distribute. So 0.05 times 7,000 gets me 350. And then 0.05x. Now I've got some like terms that I can combine. Make sure you're taking the appropriate signs. So I get negative 0.01x plus the 350. Now minus the 350 to the other side. I get 0.01x equals negative 20. Divide by that negative 0.01. And my x will equal 2,000. Okay, so if my x is 2,000, together they have to add up to 7,000. That means my y has to be 5,000. My x was my first one, and that was at that 4% rate. And then the 5% rate is the other. So that's going to be your tougher questions. Those are going to be the ones that challenge you. Those are going to be the ones that you have to really work on your algebra skills. Take your time and practice them. Okay, so on this page we're going to do 3 and 5, which are similar to the ones on the page before. So Jaden invested $5,250 in simple interest. Again, it's going to tell you that. One of the accounts was 6%, the other was 4.5%. How much was invested in each account if the interest was the same? So now they're not telling me a total interest, they're telling me the interest was the same, which means they're equal to each other. So the two different accounts, he invested $5,250. One of the accounts was 6% and the other one was 4.5%. And they said that they were the same, which means that they are equal. So again, this is your system of equations. You're going to take this and solve it for either x or y. I typically solve for y. So that means I'm moving my x over so that I can substitute that in. So over here, I've got 0.06x equals 0.045, and my new y, which is 5,250, minus x. It's kind of running off my page. Okay. Again, you're going to distribute. Do this. 0.06x equals, and when you multiply through, you're going to get 236.25 minus 0.045 x. All right, you're going to add that over to the other side so that you get 0.105 x, and that's going to equal your 236.25. Now you can divide, and your x comes out to be 2250. So there's my x. I know that total it has to be 5250, so that leaves me with 3,000 for my y. Okay, your x went with your 6%, and your 3,000 went with your 4.5%. And that's that. Again, I know they're going to challenge you, but you've got to try. Here's a little simpler. Mandy is investing this much into a simple interest account after 30 months, which you now have to change into years. There's 12 months in a year, so 24 months would be 2 years. That leaves you 2.5 years is 30 months. She earned this much interest. What is the rate? So I'm looking for that rate. Here's my formula. I know that my interest was $240.19. I know that my principal was $15.25. I'm looking for my rate, and I know that my time in years was 2.5. So algebraically, you're going to solve that. So multiply these guys. And you're here. You're solving for R. So you're going to divide. your R comes out to be 0.06300. So again, this is your rate. We bump it over 2 and we end up with 6.3% as my R, or my rate. So now you're going to try this. You're going to practice this. You've got 3 questions. Okay, the first one is your traditional simple interest, so using your formula. And these two are going to be similar to your system of equation questions. So you're going to want to go back and look for that keywording that we point out. So give it a go and good luck.